Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Ambassador Patricia Gonde from Harare, Zimbabwe. Thank you to you all for joining us today, where we are deliberating on the topic on shared responsibility for workplace well-being, and where we want to empower workers and employees to prioritize mental health. In our workplaces, we have witnessed and we have also faced mental health problems. In today's rapidly changing world, mental health has emerged as a critical concern, affecting both the employees and the employers, and it is high time we recognize that mental health, it is not just an individual issue, but a shared responsibility that requires a collaborative effort by both the employers and the employees to address. But let's look at what some of the causes of mental health issues are, because mental health issues arise within our workplace. Firstly, employers must acknowledge their role in creating a healthy working environment opposed to a toxic environment. We should also note that excessive workload for our employees might lead to mental health issues. Sometimes as employers, we set unrealistic deadlines which we expect employees to finish, and these might also lead to mental health issues. Lack of job security. There are some companies where they change employees each and every week, each and every month. And sometimes there is also poor work-life balance. We know that these employees also have got homes. Are they able to balance both their work and their life? And these can contribute. These are contributing factors that can lead to increased stress amongst employees, and also it can cause anxiety amongst employees. And it is very crucial for employers to foster a culture that values the well-being, as the consequences of neglecting mental health can be very detrimental to both individuals and the organization as a whole. However, employees and colleagues also play a very important role. Sometimes our workplace interactions, sometimes we have conflicts. There is bullying, there's discrimination. This can have a profound impact on an individual's mental health well-being, and it is essential for all of us to recognize the power of our words and action and strive in our organization to create a supportive and inclusive work environment where everyone feels valued, where every employee feels respected. Mental health issues can also arise from factors outside the workplace. For example, if I'm facing personal challenges, they might be from home, they might be peer pressure. Sometimes I'm facing financial difficulties in my home. And then sometimes we have those societal pressures that can also seep into the work environment. And these can affect the individual's mental well-being. Therefore, I think it is very crucial to address mental health holistically, considering the broader context of an individual's life. If someone is facing a mental health issue, sometimes we need to look at the background, at the source. So what can we do to assist those affected by mental health issues? To start off, organizations need to implement comprehensive mental health policies that prioritize employee well-being. This includes providing access to mental health resources such as counseling services. In our workplaces, do we have counselors who are there to counsel those employees who have got problems? Do we have any support groups? Do we have any employee assistance programs? I believe that training programs can also help raise awareness and equip our employees with the tools that they need to recognize and address mental health concern. Also, in addition to what we call organizational measures like policies, we must also focus on the source of the problem, and we must also focus on individual care and self-care. We need to encourage open conversations about mental health amongst our employees. Do they sit down together sometimes just to talk about mental health issues? We also need to promote work-life balance in our workplaces so that we do not overload our employees with so much work that they cannot even balance their work life. And there's need to foster a supportive community within the workplace that can contribute to building resilience and well-being among employees. And it is very important that individuals should prioritize their mental health. They should seek help. Let's encourage them. Let's talk to them, open dialogue, open communication, so that they can also seek help when needed, and engaging also in self-care practices. Call for guests, call for some people who can come and talk to our employees. Some people do not even know about self-care. Do those employees sometimes do self-care practices that can nurture their well-being? Now we can discuss about some environments that can contribute to mental health issues. We know that some work environments, they are very toxic, and toxicity can manifest in various ways. For example, excessive pressure from the management to the employees, or the employees themselves giving excessive pressure to the management. Micromanagement can also be a reason that for toxic work environments. Is there a lack of trust amongst employees, or a culture of blame? When someone has done something wrong, then that is blamed upon someone. So these environments not only negatively impact employees' mental health, but they also hinder productivity in the workplace, innovation. So to avoid these toxic environments, organizations must promote transparency. There should be open communication between employees and the employer, management and the subordinates. And there should also be a culture of psychological safety. There are some workplaces where you dread to go in the morning because of their toxicity. But there are some workplaces where you are there from morning even up to 6 o'clock, because the environment are not toxic. So let us encourage also diversity and inclusion, because I believe they are very key. Diversity and inclusion are key as they foster a sense of belonging and encourage different perspectives to thrive. Speaking of diversity and inclusion, it is essential also to recognize that mental health affects individuals from all backgrounds, and organizations should try by all means to create an inclusive environment that supports and accommodates the diverse mental health needs of their employees. This may involve, for example, implementing flexible work environments, implementing flexible working arrangements, providing reasonable accommodations, and creating awareness around cultural sensitivities related to mental health. We know that 2019 and 2020 COVID-19 pandemic further exacerbated mental health challenges, with many individuals experiencing the loss of jobs, financial instability, and as we rebuild our workplaces, especially in the post-pandemic world, it is very crucial to prioritize mental health recovery because we know that organizations should invest in reskilling and upskilling programs and provide support, especially for job transitions, and offer opportunities for career development. This is what we do also in our workplaces. There are CPDs. Everyone is expected to do 40 CPDs, which is continuous professional development, reskilling, and upskilling programs. We should also provide access to mental health resources such as counseling services and support groups that can help individuals cope with the emotional toll of job loss and also navigate the paths towards new opportunities. Now, let's visualize the pressures faced by both employees and employers. And I can equate this to a metaphorical container that receives pressures from all angles. The container represents the workplace, and the pressure symbolizes the various demands that are coming from each and every employee, the various expectations placed upon individuals by management, by the supervisors, by the work colleagues. And as the container starts filling up with stressors, it can become so overwhelming, leading to mental health issues and decreased well-being of an individual. And to alleviate these pressures and prevent the container from overflowing, it is essential for organizations to implement practical strategies, which include fostering a culture of open communication where employees feel comfortable expressing their concerns and also seeking support. We also need to do regular check-ins and feedback sessions with our employees because this can help to identify and address issues before they escalate. Organizations should prioritize, like I said, training programs that educate employees and managers on mental health awareness, stress management, and creating a supportive working environment. By equipping individuals with the knowledge, with the skills to recognize signs of distress and providing appropriate support, we can collectively contribute to a healthier workplace. In addition to organizational efforts, I think individuals must also take responsibility for their own well-being, like I said, self-care. This entails practicing self-care, setting boundaries, and seeking help when needed. And we also need to plan. When we have work, we need to plan to set boundaries. For example, I'm going to work from this time up to that time. Self-care activities normally vary from person to person, but they may include, for example, exercise. I know that some organizations now have got gyms and mindful practices, also pursuing our hobbies or seeking therapy. So by investing in our own well-being, we not only benefit ourselves, but also create a positive ripple effect within our teams and organizations. Now, as we conclude, I conclude this speech, I would like to leave you with some questions to ponder. How can we foster a culture of open communication and support within our workplaces? Number 2, what steps can we take to promote diversity and inclusion, ensuring that mental health needs are met for all individuals? Number 3, how can we recognize and address the pressures faced by both employees and employers to prevent the container from overflowing? And then, what are the practical strategies that we can implement to support individuals who have experienced job loss during the pandemic? And lastly, how can we prioritize self-care, and well-being in our daily lives, both at work and outside of it. Remember that addressing mental health requires a collective effort, and let us all commit to prioritizing workplace well-being, empowering our workers and employers alike to create environments that nurture mental health. Together, we can build healthier, more resilient workplaces where everyone can thrive. Thank you so much for listening to me today.